Hello beautifuls, this is Aromie here and welcome back to Seduce Me 2. We're officially now on James' route. Yes, James, the oldest brother, so if that makes Eric the last one. So get ready, you James fans. I don't know if there are many James fans, so I hope there are some. Yep,
Oh,
I knew.
Awesome! Alright then. James is pretty cool, huh? It's the glasses, isn't it? You can tell me.
No, it's his brains.
Anyway, I have... Alright then. Oh, just so you know, though, anytime...
A Princess Perseverance was the achievement I just got?
I wish to set a stone destiny.
Eh?
Because the fate of the abyssal plains is in the hands of the wrong man. I must set things right.
Is that his mom?
I come bearing my life force as the price. Take as much as you desire, as long as my request is fulfilled.
It sounds like what Matthew's mom did.
Then, that is the price, as long as you set the stone destiny.
Fathom. My name is... Oh darn, I keep forgetting that we always have to redo that. I'd almost forgotten it. I clung to it by a single thread, knowing that if I let go, I'd be lost in a dark void never to return. Why was I so worried about my name? Well, it was the only claim I had to reality, especially when I was behind bars. This is just like Matthew. For some reason, I was in a cell. I didn't know why. I didn't know how I got in here. All I knew was that I was in it and that I was chained to a wall by shackles on my ankles. I didn't want to accept the bars as real. I didn't want to be in a cell. I didn't want to smell the dank stench of blood and sweat emanating from all around me. But I had no choice in the matter. No matter how many times I examined my surroundings, they remained the same. I was in a cell in a dimly lit stone dungeon. The walls were unfriendly, and the shackles around my ankles provided no comfort. The rags I was forced to wear barely fit, and I felt filthy. Why was I here? I didn't have the answer. All I knew was that I was trapped. I could hear a quiet sobbing and muffling screaming from further down the passageway I was in. They reverberated from down the hall, and I knew that they must have come from fellow prisoners or the condemned. I, however, only had one neighbor. In the cell beside me sat a figure wrapped in a dark purple cloak. The top of the figure's head was shrouded by both the shadows in their cell and the hood that covered their face. They never spoke. They never moved. Were they dead? I watched them closely for some time, but I never saw their body inhale, exhale, or show any sign of life. I didn't wish to think on it further, so I turned my head away. What was happening? I opened my mouth to shout, hoping that maybe someone would hear me and give me some sort of clue as to what was going on. As I tried to command my voice to speak, however, the sound of a large door opening echoed through the dungeon. I turned my head towards the direction of the sound and watched as the hall slowly began to brighten, like there was a torch moving towards my cell. I stared wide-eyed at what was approaching. Moving toward my cell was a man I recognized, one that had been close to my heart and now had a look of cold disdain in his eyes. My chest pounded as his name reverberated in my head. James. Oh, hi there, James. Hi. He was still in his human form, but his voice vibrated with demonic echoes and waves, sending shivers down my spine. His tone was cold and unfeeling, as if I was not someone he loved, but someone he despised with every ounce of his being.
You still live. I'm surprised.
I'm quite surprised your storyline is this way. Suddenly, from the cell beside me, the crowd figure jumped up and slammed into the bars, gripping them as they snarled at James. I stared, now able to see who had been hidden by the cloak.
You piece of filth! How can you dare show your face again?
Diana? James unfazed as he stepped towards Diana's cage and leaned in, almost nose to nose with her.
And you live too. How resilient you both are.
We're not so weak as to break under your chains, traitor. After all, unlike you, I carry pure Lilith blood in my veins. In that human, the one you love, is more powerful than your pathetic mind can fathom.
Thanks, Diana. What was Diana talking about? Why was James acting like this? I opened my mouth to speak, but felt something holding back my voice. It was as if a vice had been tightened over my vocal cords. It denied them any chance to create sound in my throat. James smirked and gripped Diana's chin, making her snarl louder.
Anyone can be broken. It just takes time and patience, both of which I have in abundance.
Fucking mongrel!
James tightened his grip on her chin, digging his fingers into her jaw. Diana could only wince and glare at the one holding her. I felt fear run through my body as his lips curved even more into a devilish smirk. How could he look so evil?
Be patient, woman. You'll have your turn soon enough.
As James turned his gaze to me, I felt my body suddenly heat up. His eyes were glowing an almost sickly golden yellow. It stared into my soul and ignited my core with heat and desire. I felt dizzy and weak, my mouth falling open to allow a silent sigh to escape from my lips. What was happening? James released Diana and walked to the door of my cell, quickly manipulating the lock to open it. As the door opened, I felt myself crawl backwards towards the back of the cell, suddenly afraid of the demon who was approaching. At the same time, I felt uncanny and unnatural elation for the man approaching me with a smirk that tore at my heart.
Well, time to dine.
Well, that does not sound very nice.
Don't you fucking touch her!
Before I knew it, Diana pressed her body against the bars that divided our cells and grabbed James' shoulder, digging her nails into it.
You little...
In retaliation, James swung his arm towards Diana, formed a familiar pistol in his hand. With the moments he aimed and fired. I could only watch as Diana jumped back and held her chest, blood oozing from between her fingers onto the ground. She stared at James in both pain and surprise, before crumbling to the floor and exhaling the last breath she would ever take. My mind was caught in a frenzy of emotions, while I felt shocked, terrified, and mortified at what had happened. My mind continued to dance in the desirable waves that ran through my body. Why couldn't I control myself? The pistol in James' hands disappeared as he let out a sneer of irritation.
Damn it!
James then looked at me, towering over me as I both cowered in fear and melted against the back wall of my cell.
Looks like you'll have to give me twice the amount of energy from now on.
No. As James began to step towards me, I felt hot tears run down my cheeks while I panted like a dog in heat. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell him not to hurt me. My voice began to press against the vice holding it, wanting to explode out. James' shadow consumed me and I let out a scream. Then I woke up. I shot up in my bed, panting wildly as my heart pounded hard against my ribcage. I gripped my hand over my chest, feeling my pulse beating underneath the skin in a frantic rhythm in time with my hastened breaths. I heard the faint echo of my scream bounce through the room as lit. So lit right now, guys. I let reality sink in. It was a dream and I was awake now. Everything was okay. Everything was...
What?
My heart froze and I felt my body tense up at the sound of James' voice beside me. My heated cheeks reminded me of the tears I had shed in the dream and who had caused them. I shot my head to the side to see James, the man whom I loved, but also the man who terrified me, looking at me with a face painted with a concern and worry.
Love, are you okay?
No. Apparently I want you to get away from me. I couldn't control myself as I quickly rolled out of bed and pressed myself back against the far wall, staring at him in absolute terror. James only stared back at me, still shocked and now troubled. He didn't move, most likely not wanting to frighten me further. Images of the dream I had began to replay in my mind, or head, replacing the James in bed with the James that towered over me in the dark jail cell. My body shook violently from the memory, but soon my logic began to break the images apart, leaving me with the sight of James still in bed, staring at me. My thoughts slowly melted and I felt myself start to cry once again. This time my heart began to ache as I realized whom I had yelled at. I lurched forward and practically jumped at James, who opened his arms wide and wrapped me in them as I landed against his chest. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I couldn't tell the difference between you and a nightmare.
Shh. There's nothing to be sorry about. It was only a nightmare. I'm right here.
That's so comforting. James held me close to him as I began to cry into his shoulder. I continued to apologize to him, whimpering and sobbing like a child as the fear from the nightmare slowly began to fade away. James' hands limply ran over my head and hair, trying to calm me down. It felt so real, and yet I knew that it couldn't have been. James was right here, protecting me and comforting me, proving the love he had for me. He would never hurt me. Ever. Eventually, I was able to calm down. I looked up at the man holding me as he gently smiled down at me.
Are you alright?
A little. I nodded, earning a small squeeze of his arms around me. I naturally cuddled closer to his body, desiring more of his warmth. What time is it? James gently hugged me tighter to his body as he looked over to his nightstand at his phone, which was docked in a fancy speaker charger.
It's 3:40 a.m.
Jeez. And it's like 1:15 a.m. for me right now. We still had a few hours before our alarms were set to wake us up. Crap, why did I have to have a nightmare and wake both of us up? I gripped Jim's shoulder and I looked up at him apologetically. I'm sorry, I know you need your sleep.
Please don't worry about it. My beautiful fiancé is much more important to me than sleep.
Aw, you're so cute. As he said fiancé, I couldn't help but feel my face heat up, letting a blush run along my cheeks. It was true, I was his fiancé. He had asked me to marry him a couple of months ago, and I had accepted his proposal, wanting to be his wife. Just thinking about the idea of being with him forever made the imaginary butterflies in my stomach dance around happily and flutter their wings against my heart. It was a dream come true. His love and warmth assured me that my nightmare was just that. He was my wonderful husband-to-be, and I was going to be his wife. My body couldn't help but shiver in happiness. James caught the shiver and gently ran his hands up and down my arms.
Are you feeling cold?
Cold? No, you just make me happy, that's all. As I leaned up and kissed James' cheek, he smiled and kissed mine in return. His warm lips sent another euphoric shiver down my spine, and I felt joy run through my veins. I truly loved James. It wasn't long, however, before I felt something gently brush against my hip. I looked down as James cleared his throat in embarrassment. Raising an eyebrow as well as growing a blush on my face, I looked up at my fiancé as he looked away from me, his face almost as red as a tomato.
I'm sorry, I can't exactly control my excitement when you say things like that.
Aww. It's alright, let's go back to sleep. Just friend zone him, nah. Let's not do that, guys. James didn't have to use his powers to light a fire in me. I gently tilted my head and kissed him, capturing his lips with mine lovingly. I felt my body slowly heat up, softly and tenderly to make sure not to scare me. His enthronement over me became a natural part of our lovemaking, and not only helped him gain energy, but it made the pleasure of our sex practically 10 times more powerful. 'Cause powerful magic. As I moved against his lips, James gently ran his hands down my back and over my rear, making me slightly jump in surprise at his feel. At the feel, not his feel, sorry. As I gripped it, I let out another hot moan, and James smiled and chuckled quietly against my lips. I stared at the ceiling, lusting for James as he pulled away from the kiss and began to kiss over my neck. I absolutely needed this man, and I needed him now. Okay. My body pressed against his and forced him back onto the bed, allowing me to be on top and be in control. James stared up at me, still gripping onto my ass, and gently massaging each cheek with his fingers with a smirk. We both knew that he was always in control whenever we made love. However, my rebellious attempts at being top often spurred him on to be that much rougher in our play. It was like a game. Still, I like to think that I tried valiantly and not in vain. I moved my hands back and took his off of me, lacing our fingers together and pinning them to the bed beside his head. They didn't fight back against my hold, but James' face continued to intimidate me with a playful smirk and a dominant gaze. I gently leaned down and captured his lips again, grinding my hips against his and showing him the heat and desire I was feeling for him. His hands tightened around mine, and I felt him gently grind back up into me and letting his own desire rub against mine. My body forced to pull my lips away, making me bite my lower lip in pleasure at the grind before suddenly feeling myself being flipped over on the bed, with James working over me. I didn't care. I wanted him to take me in whatever position we ended up in. Wrapped my legs around his waist, I pulled James closer and leaned my head up, brushing my lips against his. What are you waiting for? Take me to a faraway land.
As you wish.
Thanks. Within a mere moments, we went from grinding each other to moaning each other's name as we made passionate love. Our clothes were thrown about the room, but we didn't give a damn. We were busy. At 3:40 in the morning. Every movement pushed moans and gasps from my lips, building towards a beautiful high as I moved against him, and made him feel the same. This is where we're gonna stop. Ooh, I was gonna copy over that. Whatever that is. Something with Sam's route, which we completed. Yay! Anyway, that's it for Jane's route for today. My brain is melting. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Stay beautiful, and I hope you guys are going to be excited for James' route, the oldest brother, for you James lovers. Hopefully there's just James lovers, because I feel like there were more of Matthew lovers in my viewer base ship. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Stay beautiful, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.